Unleash the champion within.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
Whether you're looking to lace up your cleats or cheer your favorite player on from the stands, in Orlando North, you get to choose your own adventure. With something new to explore around every corner, you can get that game-winning feeling on and off the field. Turn your tournament weekend into something more. Plan your next visit at playorlandonorth.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the High School Football Scoreboard Show, week number 2. Some of you guys can say it's week 3 based off, kickoff classics. We don't really count that. But man, AJ, we've got a lot to talk about. I have some backtracking to do. I know a lot of people had some receipts to show me this weekend. My phone was absolutely blowing up Friday night. I'm enjoying a football game that delayed for almost an hour and a half at Merritt Island and Cocoa. And obviously games ended before mine, and I didn't expect some of the results that I saw. AJ, there was a point in time where I actually spoke to you on the phone, and the game that you were at, that we both thought the game was over. And clearly it was not over. And so we will talk about that. Cecily, welcome to the show.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm here. I'm so excited to be back. Welcome back, guys. Week 2, episode 2, week 1 is officially wrapped up. We have so much to talk about. Dudes of the Week is back. Before we get into our recap of last week, I have a little headline or something I think is worth highlighting, talking about college football and NFL. There's a lot of talk of potential NFL players returning to college sports. SEC had a ruling earlier today, 16-0. They're ruling against it. What are your guys' thoughts on the matter?
Who go first, me or you?
You go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So part of me was like, man, this is garbage, man. This is garbage. But if the rule is the rule and it's in your favor, so if it was my son and my son was 23 years old and he played defensive back and he got cut in training camp, but he could go back to college, I would be in favor of it. But as I sit here and stand today, it's almost crazy that you could go play in NFL, receive a signing bonus, play in preseason games, and then go get picked up by college a week before the season. I do think that is a little crazy. It's a little outrageous.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think the only way this makes sense is if you have someone like your kid involved, and that would make total sense. But unfortunately, I would be against it. I know I have a quarterback that is benefiting from this, and Tommy Castellanos, he just committed to Texas Tech today, actually.
Wow.
Which he was one of the first ones to acknowledge that he was going to go back. And I think that's when the uproar started, because they made the ruling and then Tommy came out and said, I'm coming back. And then it became a whole suing situation. And then all of a sudden we saw players that were literally in games on a Thursday night and Saturday in the NFL announcing they were also going to come back. So once Tommy got word that he was able to come back, I think it opened up the gates for the other people to step into that. But it just doesn't make sense. You're literally playing in the NFL, and because you weren't good enough or got cut, now you have the opportunity to go back and make a lot of money, which, again, that's just the way the game is now. But it logically doesn't make sense to me. And they're only going to do it this year. So in the 2022 class, if you're in high school, you have that option. If you have that fifth year, still eligible to play. But again, you made that decision and made it very clear that you were going to declare for the NFL draft. You didn't get drafted. Then you got picked up by – these are guys that were actually in NFL camps for the last 2 to 3 weeks. So it wasn't like they're waiting around for a phone call. They didn't get it. So, hey, I'm going to go back to college. No, these guys were actually in the locker rooms in the NFL experiencing that. And then they're now going back to college because, one, they weren't ready. And two, they just weren't good enough. And then now you see, I saw today an NBA player went back to college. I saw that. Don't know the name. You guys can look it up on Twitter, but I did see he was a part of, I think, the Miami Heat organization. And then he went back into to an NCAA team. So it just doesn't make sense to me. You decided to go to play pro. You signed a contract. You probably made some money. You're not going to practice for free the last 3 weeks. So you're getting a check from the NFL to turn around and say, hey, I'm going to go back to college because I got cut. Or maybe not lined up on the depth chart the way you thought it was. It's just weird. But again, if I had a son, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But I just think overall, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great perspective you both brought up that I didn't even think about myself on the matter, but there's a lot of potential with it. So I guess we'll see week to week where that ends up. But we're going to move on. We're moving right along with the show. We are going to recap last week's scores, the games we had set aside. So starting off, we had Lake Howell and Winter Springs. Remember, last week we did the fan results. So fans favored 79% of fans favored Lake Howell, and Lake Howell did win that 57-16. Baylin?
Yeah, I didn't think the score was going to be this lopsided. Last year, Lake Howell was also favored in this game and they lost. And there was a big commotion after the game. I don't really want to get into it because it really doesn't matter now, but I know that the tensions were high. This is the Tuscaloosa Tussle, as Dan LaForce. I give him credit for this because I think he really made this a thing. But yeah, it's not fair. I mean, Lake Howell.
Is he there?
Not hearing him.
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can pick it up.
I'll pick it up. I know that Bryson Mabry had a terrific game. He had 242 yards, 5 touchdowns. Peyton DeGree had 12 carries for 136 yards and a touchdown as well. Troy Williams on the defensive side had 11 tackles. So it appeared to be just a team win. I think coaching staff did a great job preparing them for this game to avenge the loss from last season. So they dominated and they proved the fans to be correct.
All right, next up, we had Windermere and Winter Park. Both of you guys had Winter Park winning this game as well as the fan vote with 67%. And Windermere actually won this game. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts are I gotta give Windermere respect. I did not think that they would be able to go into Winter Park and get the victory, but they were able to do that. Dean Monroe, he's a terrific quarterback, so I didn't doubt his skills. But he did go 25 for 33, 258 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. He also had 51 yards rushing and added a touchdown. So Onyx Vasquez, the receiver, had 12 catches for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Trace Kozar on the defensive side had 15 tackles. So Windermere, they just keep winning. They got another terrific game this week versus Innovation. We'll get into that a little more, but I got to give Windermere all the credit for being able to go to Winter Park and take care of business.
All right, next up so this one, from what I'm understanding, was a big upset. We have Osceola and St. Cloud. For the first time in 16 years, if that's right, St. Cloud beat Osceola. Even the fan vote was 81%. AJ?
Yeah, it was the fan vote the other way around, or did the fans know that St. Cloud hadn't beat Osceola in like 15,
Oh, man.
16 years. So it was and then I think it was like one victory in I don't know how long, but it's almost like a given every year that Osceola is going to beat St. Cloud. I think they had played a tough game last year, or was it a blowout? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm surprised. I had Osceola winning this ball game. I just I don't know where to start. St. Cloud defense played terrific. They held Jabari Combs, the Osceola quarterback. He was 4 for 10, 21 yards and 2 interceptions. So you got to give a lot of credit to St. Cloud's defense. And speaking of their defense, Jaden Irons, he had an interception, returned that for 49 yards. He also had a fumble recovery returned that for 19 yards. And then he also had a 95-yard kickoff return. JT Rona had 12 tackles, 3 TFLs. So as a team, they had 7 sacks. So they were getting after it. So you gotta give St. Cloud all the credit. But I am definitely surprised that St. Cloud was able to go beat Osceola.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone was a little bit surprised once I saw that on social media as well. Moving on, we have Southlake and East Ridge. One of those games that you and Baylin were also wrong with. You guys had Southlake winning that game. Fan vote was for East Ridge, and they won 24-7.
Yeah, last week it was like we were 2 old dudes who just didn't know what we were talking about. Historically, my win percentage normally is between 75-80% for the season. But last week was just, I don't know. Last week was crazy. You got to give East Ridge credit. I'm not totally surprised by this victory because I do think East Ridge is a talented team and they stack up toe-to-toe with Southlake. I just thought that Southlake had a lot of momentum from last season heading into this game. East Ridge defense was able to contain Trey Kelly, and really that's where it starts. Trey Kelly was 7 for 16. He only had 65 yards passing with 2 interceptions. He did add in 55 yards rushing, but I mean, it starts with the engine. Trey Kelly is the engine. East Ridge defense was able to contain him. And I mean, I won't even say contain him. They were able to neutralize him. And I think that's how they got the victory.
Baylin, we're talking Southlake and East Ridge right now. If you want to fill in.
This is one of the games I want to touch on for sure. Obviously, we both picked wrong in this prediction. East Ridge, I'm eating crow. I'll be honest with you. I was never high on East Ridge last year. I made it very clear that I felt like they were bragging about being 6-0 and why they weren't ranked. I literally called the last 4 games they were going to lose. They did. They went 0-4 and lost first round of the playoffs. But I feel like this East Ridge team is definitely trending in a unique way that they're actually a pretty good football team. Now,
yeah.
I don't know. I thought Southlake was going to, obviously be prepared. They got spanked. East Ridge has beaten St. Cloud, blowout, and now Southlake in a blowout. So now I feel like they've proven themselves to be better, obviously, than last year. A team, again, that started off 6-0. They're the real deal. Talked to Coach Short. Also now Coach Lord would say the same thing. East Ridge is a good football team. And so now I'm done with the whole taking the credit away. You got to prove to me, obviously, for me to change my opinion on something. They've done a great job. I know nothing about East Ridge. I'm just going based off, obviously, trends and who I know. Clearly, I don't know enough. So great job to East Ridge. They're climbing in my books. And you might see them ranked in the near future if they continue to do what they're doing right now. Again, they haven't been tested yet, and they've had 2 good opponents. So interesting to say that about East Ridge, but I think, again, like Coach AJ has alluded to over the last couple of weeks, this is a good football team, and they are moving.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the schedule too, they got a tough one this week versus Leesburg. So they got some. Yeah, they're beatable, but they got dudes. They got dudes. I mean, when you talk about Duke Garrison, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, he got to be he's one of the highest rated players in Lake County. So anytime he's on the field, you got a chance. The running back 6'1", 205 pounds. In high school, nobody's trying to tackle a 200-pound running back. So they got pieces.
All right, moving on, we have Merritt Island and Cocoa. Baylin, you were at this game, right?
Yeah.
So we had Merritt Island winning. You both had Merritt Island, so did fans. So go ahead.
I said, AJ, how many percentage did Cocoa have winning this game?
You said 0.
0, and I stand corrected. Now, I will tell you this. Casey, the quarterback at Cocoa High School, is going to be a special talent. That is a goal gem for Cocoa. He went the 2 back-to-back drives, scored touchdowns on both drives. Looked like it was going to be a good game, and then it was just the Merritt Island show. Now, I knew that Merritt Island, even being there, was going to eventually take over because they scored so quickly. You know, Cocoa went down, drove, boom, hit a perfect slant, took a shot. Casey took a shot, but he threw a perfect pass, touchdown, went up 6-0, and then 2 plays later, Merritt Island scored. It was like, all right. And then Cocoa drove, scored. I was like, okay, Merritt Island 3 plays, touchdown. So I'm like, oh, this is over. And then once they got that first stop, Merritt Island just poured it on. Kevin Verpail didn't even throw a touchdown. I mean, he would throw a beautiful seam route, boom, for like 60, 70 yards, and then they would run it in. The tight end for Merritt Island, absolutely sensational. He's a Pitt commit. He literally virtually was unguardable, took over the game himself. Just a phenomenal talent. Merritt Island, I mean, they have a special season coming up. I'm excited. They have a really big game this week that we're going to touch on later. But yeah, 0% chance Cocoa would have won this game. It's really sad to see the drop-off Cocoa had, because looking at their sideline, it looked like they only had like maybe in total 35 players total. And so it just didn't look like the same Cocoa that we're used to over the last 2 decades, where they've completely dominated Brevard County. Merritt Island looked like a college football team. Even watching them in warm-ups, they had depth at every position. Their offensive line was massive. Just looked like a complete football team. This is going to be a scary team. They're going to make a deep run. But, man, Kevin Verpail, I love the kid to death. This is my first time watching this kid. I've trained him for 2 years now. This is the first time I watched him play live. He is as advertised, 4-star commit. His presence alone is just something special. So Merritt Island has a special season. And O'Galley better watch out. AJ might have something to say this week about that. But, yeah, I think Merritt Island, I can make a statement. They are the best team in Brevard. I think AJ was a little.
I don't know if there's any technical difficulties on my end. I'm not able to hear you, Baylin. But moving on, we have Bishop Moore and Hawthorne. Another one of those games where you guys were wrong. You guys had Bishop Moore winning this game, number 9 Bishop Moore, and so we had Hawthorne winning it 28-25. Let's hear your thoughts.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
No, it might be on my end.
All right, I don't know if anybody can hear me or not. Maybe we can go to commercial break and come back and see if things change. I have no idea.
We all have an it, the thing we're obsessed with, a passion that makes us want to be the best. Whatever your it may be, scholarships and online programs at Seminole State College can help you earn a certificate, associate, or bachelor's degree in information systems technology with a specialization in cybersecurity. The time is now. Go affordably. Go all the way. Go for it at Seminole State. Go state. Go far. Apply today at seminolestate.edu.
Yes,
all right,
everybody.
Welcome back. Here we go. Pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so back to the point here. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for being patient. There's so many storms going on. Please be safe. Like I said, my power went out. That's why you probably missed me in the first couple recap games. But we're back. Power's back on. Wi-Fi's on. We're good to go. You guys hear me? Let's make it clear. We were wrong in this prediction, okay? Bishop Moore, again, played a good football team. What I don't like about how we predicted it last week, we called Hawthorne a church champion. They clearly show they can play with the best, right? So they beat Bishop Moore at Bishop Moore. The fans gave them a 4% chance of winning this football game. We both picked Bishop Moore here. I'm tired of picking Bishop Moore at home, to be honest with you. I mean, the last time I did that, Lake Mary embarrassed Bishop Moore at home. We both picked Bishop Moore to win against Hawthorne, a state champion, by the way, and they lost. Now, again, I think Bishop Moore's a good football team, obviously. But, again, I feel like I need to just start picking Bishop Moore when they're on the road, because they play really well when they're on the road. But yeah, Hawthorne came in and beat Bishop Moore. That's a really good football team. I know some of their fans and coaches watched the show last week. They were in my DM saying, "Hey, we're a good football team. I don't know what church league, we're talking about, which I never said. But again, Hawthorne's a state champion for a reason. Their schedule is really well. They play Northwestern in a couple weeks. Good football team. Bishop Moore lost to a good football team. So let's just stop the nonsense with the whole church league thing. Football's football, and you can lose on any given night. Bishop Moore, come on, man. I want to keep my percentage high on predictions. Let's go, man. Let's go.
All right, next up we have number 1, DeLand and Lake Wells. One of those really close games, 35-34. Go ahead.
This was I didn't know the result of this game until it was completely finished. Wow, to say the least. Now, I do know DeLand was up 35-21 in the fourth quarter with about 3 minutes left in the game. Lake Wells storms back. They went for 2 for the win, which, again, if I'm a coach in that situation, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going for 2 every single time. They didn't get it. So DeLand came away with a win. I did say a 20-plus win for DeLand. Lake Wells is a great football team. And, I feel like if DeLand just takes care of their business, they win by 2 or more scores. And so they didn't. Lake Wells came back and made it close. Great game. I mean, obviously, I think one of the better games in week 1. I'm glad I was on the opposite side of the win percentage for me in my predictions. But Lake Wells is a good football team. A couple of their coaches also reached out to my DM. This is also the best part about this show is people are engaged. Coaches are engaged. I love when they reach out to me, especially when I'm wrong. It's all love for me. It's an opinion. But Lake Wells, again, I hope looking forward to hopefully working with their quarterback soon. He reached out to me on social media, so I know they have a young gun in Keekston. He's going to be a special player. But yeah, DeLand came away with this win. Made me look right, but made my prediction look wrong because I did call a blowout and that didn't happen. Lake Wells was literally 2 yards away from upsetting DeLand, our Central Florida number 1 team.
All right, next up we have number 2, Evans and Lake Nona. Another one of those upsets where we had fan results as 87% having Evans, and then Lake Nona took that one 31-27. You guys were also wrong on this prediction. Go ahead.
I feel like this is the part of the show that I was looking forward to the most. See, for a lot of people, they can't admit when they're wrong. They can't. They just can't do it. Their pride is too big. Their ego's too big. One would say I probably struggle with the same issues, but in reality, I don't if you know who I am. If you actually know who I am, right? Guys, I was wrong. I mean, all of us were wrong. I'm going to give credit to where credit is due. I'm going to give a big shout out to Coach Sapp, former Dr. Phillips, offensive coordinator, former Oak Ridge head coach, former Jones Tiger, former Oak Ridge Pioneer assistant coach, Edgewater. He's been around the game for a very, very long time. Matter of fact, this is the first year he has not coached in 20 years. And I talked to him that morning along with Coach Wells. We were sold. I mean, I was sold on the Evans hype train. We bought in. I bought in. I was all in. I've never talked this highly about Evans. A big part of that reason, again, was Coach Alford. I believe he is the X factor in Evans being an elite program. They've always had amazing talent, good coaching. But now I believe offensively, for the weapons that he has, the transfers that they have, the hype, I bought in. I was all in. And I literally said to him, there's really no chance Lake Nona wins this game based off what I saw the week before. Again, it looked like a Pop Warner football game between Lake Nona and Seminole. It was not anywhere near a good football game. It was probably the worst game I've seen in 13 years, to be honest with you. And I'm just being straight. Now, if you're a defensive-minded guy for Seminole, they absolutely played lights out. 7 turnovers. Insane, obviously, but I'm an offensive guy, and it was embarrassing to watch on both sides. I'm going to be straight up. So I didn't think that, obviously, with what Evans has and coming into the Lake Nona with a hype, and I know that they wanted to prove a point because they didn't have the kickoff classic game, they got beat. And not only did they got beat, Elijah Nickerson literally proved himself to be easily one of, if not the top quarterback in that conversation, the 2028 class. 2 touchdowns throwing, 2 touchdowns rushing. Go talk your stuff, Elijah. Go talk. I had his dad call me immediately after the game. My phone was going absolutely berserk, even to the point where Coach Aubrey texted me at 3 a.m. So I know he was partying somewhere I thought you said Evans by 30 in every game. Now, again, I said every game but a couple games. This one could have been interesting, but of course I was talking more about the Edgewater-Jones game. Lake Nona showed up when it mattered. And we're talking 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left. Evans is on the brink of putting the game away with either a field goal or a first down in the red zone, which, by the way, they were in the red zone 3 or 4 times with 0 points. Shout out to Lake Nona's defense. But this game could have been wide open. It was 14-0 in the first quarter. It literally seemed like Evans was dominating, but Lake Nona just hung around. And then special teams, both teams got a kickoff return. Brian Dillard in the fourth quarter, it seemed like that was pretty much the pinpoint point to take over the game, to make it little like lopsided. Lake Nona stayed within the game. They scored a touchdown with about, I believe it was 17 or something seconds left in the game. They went for 2 to tie it, did not get it, recovered an onside kick, and had 2 Hail Mary plays. The second play, guys, as we know, bat the ball down. Everybody wants to be the hero. Everybody wants an interception. Both players, both Division I corners, by the way, and Ladarius Pryor and Coleman, both went for the interception, didn't see each other. If you look, they weren't looking at each other. They're both playing the ball. Guess what? Bobbled, touchdown, Lake Nona, ball game, game's over. And now we're looking at 31-27 upset. Unbelievable. I literally was on the phone with AJ Brooks with 5 minutes left in the game. People were leaving. They were up, I believe, 13 points. I don't remember. I just know they were up pretty comfortably. And then bang, bang, I get a text. Or my phone was getting blown up by Elijah's dad, which I love him because he called me the next day. He's all emotional. I would have done the same thing. If I'm the biggest underdog in the entire city with arguably the best team in Central Florida, you best believe I'm coming after the people that doubted not only my son, but our community. That's exactly what happened. And Lake Nona is literally sitting here 1-0, and Evans is 0-1. I mean, this is why we play football. This game, this is exactly why we do this show. This is exactly why we get the community up. We have bulletin board material pretty much every week with some programs. And here I am talking about 4 minutes or so about how wrong I was in my prediction in this and how much I put so much pressure on Evans. I did call it. I call it what it is. Didn't I say, guys, last week that Evans is in a situation where they might have looked forward to a Jones game or something down the road. They may have overlooked Lake Nona, especially if they watched last week's film against Seminole. And then Lake Nona on the other side is like, okay, we're going to prove a point, and you're going to get everybody's best game when you're Evans. You are. Every week, you're going to be the favorite, and you're going to get everybody's best game. And Lake Nona played their best game in the second half. And they took advantage of opportunities, unfinished drives. And I think that was pivotal for Evans to not have a kickoff classic game. This was their first game together, totally together, because, again, there was transfers late in camp. I just think that, man, it's just why we love this show. I love it. I love people coming at me. I love the conversations I have with Coach Alfred on Sunday and, Clinton on Sunday and Saturday after training with Elijah, and just the whole thing that comes with this whole Aubrey at 3 a.m. texting me. This is why I love this show. And I was wrong, and I can admit it. I don't think I'm still going to go against Evans. I still think they're a really good football team. But Alfred said something to me that really stood out on Sunday when I talked to him on Monday. He said, if you look back at Lake Mineola when we were averaging 60 points a game, our first 3 or 4 games, we started off the season 1-3. People were questioning us. And then we went on a deep run because we kept it close with Mainland, and the kids were starting to buy into the process. And once they did that, they ran the table, right? It was like blowout every single week. I feel like Evans, once they buy in, discipline, fundamentally sound, playing football and doing your job. I think a lot of people rely on the talent to win you games. It's still everybody needs to play. That's why football is a team sport. It takes all 11, not just one good athlete here and there, one play here and there. No, it's all 4 quarters, every single play, doing your job, not worrying about the next guy, doing your job, one play, one day at a time. I believe this Evans team's obviously going to figure it out. That's a lot I'm talking about. I know everybody's watching to see what I have to say about this. And same thing with you, AJ. I'm so glad you came back at this exact time. But yeah, Lake Nona, all the credit in the world. Man, what a show and what a way to start your season.
Yeah, I apologize. It's storming at my house, so I had to get on the phone. But I was at this game. I saw it live in person. I had to wait the hour and a half weather delay. Lake Nona, they were a good football team. Like, at the end of the day, this ain't the same Lake Nona that everybody may think of. I still thought that Evans was a better team going into the game, even with me knowing that this is a totally different program from the perception of the society, so to speak. But Lake Nona they didn't quit. Nickerson, quarterback, he had 307 yards passing, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Sebastian Laura had 230 all-purpose yards. He had a kickoff return that he took to the house. Tabor Williams, the young man who had the game-winning interception, well, he also had 12 tackles on defense. And he also recovered the the onside kick. Jeremiah Allen, wide receiver, had 6 receptions for 119 yards. He had a big play on the sideline. This is after Lake Nona gets a stop. It's 14-0. Lake Nona gets a stop on fourth and goal. I think Evans was like on the 8-yard line. Coming out, Lake Nona strikes and gets like a 50-yard bomb. So they're at midfield. Evans did help that drive with 3 personal fouls. But at the end of the day, on 4th and 16, Lake Nona scored a touchdown. And I think that was the play that kind of changed the game because Lake Nona never quit. If Lake Nona went into the half 14-0 and that drive never happened, I think Evans comes out, scores, makes it 21-0, and you can kiss the baby. But at the end of the day, Lake Nona just kept fighting. They never gave up. Will Jackson didn't play a terrible game. He was 21 for 28 for 192 yards. He did have a crucial interception in the 4th quarter to Nolan, and that gave him life. So at the end of the day, I do think Evans not playing the kickoff classic played a factor in it. They looked like they died towards the end of the game. They didn't look like they had as much energy. Now, to end this all, let's talk about the last play of the game. Hey, Baylin, look, and let me correct you. It's not Ladarius Pryor. It's Dimitri Pryor, man. Right. Ladarius is at dang Jackson State, but it's all right. We normally call him Michi. But yeah, Big Meech was right there to catch a fair catch. You're talking about a young man going into his junior year who already has almost 20 interceptions for his career. Like, that was a routine play. And at the same time, Coleman, he was just going to make a play. I don't think you'll ever see no fluky play like that ever again in football. Like, it was just so fluky. But to Lake Nona's credit, Tabor Williams was running down the field. He did not quit on the play, just like his team, and he was in the right place at the right time. Lake Nona deserves all the credit. I think that Evans will rebound from this. I think it'll be a blessing in disguise for him, but you got to give Lake Nona credit.
Guys, I mean, what do you see back here? See this? Miami, right? Last year, was Miami better than SMU? Hands down. Was Miami better than Louisville? Hands down. At the end of the day, what did they do? They ended up in the national championship. I don't think that there's, again, this has nothing to do with Evans not being a good football team. Everybody wants to clown Evans. Oh, they're, again, what we say, paper champions, right? Nothing to do with that. Guys, football's football. This is why we love the game so much, because at any given Friday night, if you do not play your best, you can get beat. No matter how much talent you have. I mean, let's be honest. If we watch all-star games, they're not the most clean, right? Pro Bowls, they have to go to flag football now because people can't even play the game right because they want to be heroes every play, right? So, again, Evans is going to figure it out. They got so much talent. Nobody needs to jump ship. Nobody needs to go crazy and be like, oh, this – guys, it's one game. Lake Nona, you had your moment. Amazing. Live off that. Hopefully you capitalize on that and don't get too big-headed because you beat Evans and then you also lose to a St. Cloud or something like that.
Listen, the team that I saw Friday, bro, that's at worst, looking at their schedule, at worst. And I don't want to put pressure on them, but I'm talking about that's a 8-2, 9-1.
Oh, yeah. But then again,
club,
it's the same team that had 7 turnovers the week before against Seminole. So, again, you have to stay consistent.
So what I tell you about that game, maybe Seminole ain't so bad. Remember I told you look at that glass half full that day.
100%.
Yeah, dog.
Why I wanted to rank them this week. But anyway.
Hey, shout out to Coach Aubrey and his coaching staff too. Shout out to those boys.
Okay, we have to move on. There's our recap of week 1 scores. We have Dudes of the Week. Dudes of the Week are back. AJ, you have 3 guys to highlight this week, so go ahead.
Yeah, DeAndre Meredith, he had the game-sealing interception for West Orange in their victory last week. to open up week 1. He also had 2 PBUs. Very aggressive corner, very aggressive DB. I like his game a lot. Then Elijah Nickerson, obviously, this was an award that could have went to AJ Chung, just throwing his name out there, being realistic. But Elijah beat the big dog in our area. I think Evans was what were they ranked? Number 2 last week?
Number 2 in our rankings, and I believe number 3 on other people's rankings. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to get a man his flowers. You got to give him his flowers. So yeah, good game, man.
Hey, Elijah, shout out to Elijah because your boy Michi was talking a lot of trash, and I saw a play where my boy broke a tackle in the backfield, and he wanted nothing to do with Elijah Nickerson trying to score a touchdown. So I'm gonna have him his moment because I heard the thing going back and forth, and I know they were talking trash on social media. I do know this because I talked to Eli. He had his moment, so I want to give him his little shine because Elijah played out of his mind. But again, like you said, AJ Chung could have easily won this as well. And I want to, what a special moment for AJ as well and his game-winning touchdown, their comeback victory as well. So I don't want to take nothing away from AJ and what he did. But yeah, Elijah Nickerson, bro, you stood 10 toes down, my guy, this week, and you took down the Giant.
And then, yeah, Titusville. I mean, you talk about a crazy ending to a high school, to any kind of game. I still don't really know what how this ended. I didn't know it was time left. I thought Titusville was tripping, trying to run the ball on third down, only 13 seconds.
Running. Why are you running?
Was running, but some kind of how they absorbed a personal foul, right? So they were backed up 15 yards.
Back them up, yeah.
Calvin Jernison, he nailed a 42-yard game winner in week 1 to open up the season. Titusville, I think this is going to help catapult them, so to say, in the season or give them a good trajectory, a good push for this year. So, yeah, shouts out to you, man.
Yep.
All right, moving on, we have top 10 rankings. So we'll start with number 10, we have Seminole 1-0. Number 9, we have Evans 0-1. 8, we have Mainland 0-1 as well. Number 7, Lake Mary 0-0. Number 6, Lake Nona 1-0. Number 5, West Orange 1-0. 4, Merritt Island 1-0. 3, Jones 0-1. Number 2, Edgewater 1-0. And then number 1 again, DeLand 1-0. Baylin, why don't you start?
Yeah, I think Seminole has earned their way. They beat the number 2 team in Colorado, I believe. Beat them here, obviously at Seminole. Really good game by Daniel. I want to shout out their quarterback. Had 2 rushing touchdowns in his victory. So they showed up. Obviously, Seminole showed up this week, and so did Lake Nona. So those 2 teams are obviously in our rankings. Some people can say, oh, Seminole should be ranked higher than Lake Nona because they beat them in a kickoff classic. Guys, at the end of the day, it's a kickoff classic. We don't really – who knows the situation there.
Right.
But obviously a big win against Evans in this area was very impressive. Seminole obviously beat the team from Colorado, but we expect that because those guys should not hang with Central Florida. Let's be honest. But you are good enough to obviously be in our rankings, and we talked about that. Again, a lot of people obviously come at me with these rankings. We have a whole committee. We talk about this, right? So it's all of us trying to make the best arrangement for these teams to be in our top 10, regardless. They are all, in our opinions, the top 10 teams in Central Florida as it stands right now. Evans, the biggest jump from 2 all the way down to 9. They have to obviously prove it. Go and blow out a Boone, but if you keep that close, you're not ready yet, obviously, in this conversation, but you are good enough, obviously, to be this top 10, and I believe they will easily climb up as the season goes on because they got games like Jones and Edgewater. Mainland, they lost, but again, Carroll City, anybody on these top 10, I don't care who you are, you're losing to Carroll City. So let's not play this game of records. We're going based off strength of schedule, strength of win, strength of loss. Nobody in here in this top 10 would give Carroll City, in my opinion, a run for their money other than probably the top 3 or 4 teams that you see here. Lake Mary did not have a game. They had a bye week. They've shown enough against Buchholz, the number 1 team in their classification, and Ty Jones to still be in our top 10. Lake Nona, obviously, big win. West Orange, they climbed a couple spots there with their massive win over a great Ohio team, who will also be back to play TFA in a couple weeks. Merritt Island jumped a couple spots in their blowout win. Jones played the number 6 team in America, and it was only 14-0 in the fourth quarter. Now, I talked to Coach Elijah Williams. He said he can have the best all-star team over the last decade, Jones, and they still would not beat that team in California, which shows me this team is obviously the real deal. I think the number one team in California lost this past weekend, so now they should be the number one ranked team in California and probably 3 in the country. The team that they play, Santa Margarita. And then Edgewater, blowout win over Ocoee, impressive kickoff classic against Armwood. They move up to number 2. DeLand, they got the squeaky win against Lake Wales, but with the production that came back, with obviously their scoring percentage and what they've done over the course of not even just this year, last year as well, with the productivity coming back, again, you have to knock off the top. So I think this is a pretty good, fair top 10. AJ, what are your thoughts?
Man, I think that obviously we had some teams some moving shake around a bit, but you touched on it. Mainland, they played Carol City. I think Carol City is the number 11th, or they're the number 11th team in the country, number 3 in the state of Florida. So, I mean, that's a tough team. I like Seminole. I like Seminole. They play good defense. So you play defense, you got a chance to win ball games. Lake Nona jumps in, but they actually were one of the teams that were like right on the outside. So this isn't such a crazy jump for some people. So yeah, they were right there. Merritt Island is a team that I want to keep close eye on. Obviously, EG lost to Carrollwood Day, so they dropped out of the top 10. So just keep an eye on EG to see what happens with them. But also just keep an eye on Merritt Island because who does Merritt Island got this week? Is it Melbourne?
They got Melbourne.
So I know that's some talk. I still think that Merritt Island is the superior team in that matchup.
We're going to go for predictions, AJ.
Yeah. My bad. But another team to watch out for that if they win this week, we have to put them in the top 10, and that's TFA.
Yes.
TFA has a big matchup versus the number 2 team on our rankings, Edgewater. So let's touch base on D-Land. They play St. Francis. Listen, y'all, if D-Land loses St. Francis, bro, I mean
they are moving much.
Yeah, come on.
They are, I believe, the number 1 team in America.
And
number 1.
And that's a powerhouse. But
hey, shout out to Coach Darlington, the man, the myth, the legend. He even texted me and he goes, "Hey man, St. Francis by 50." And you don't really text me, and I know he's just playing because obviously he wants to win this game. But we know the magnitude of this game. They're the number 1 team in America, and there's over 4,000, 5,000 schools in every classification. So
he got the right formula to if any team has
single
the
wing,
formula
baby.
to
Single
do
wing.
that's the formula.
Hey, side note before we go into predictions, I do want to give a massive, massive shout out to Orangewood Christian, my sleeper team. AJ, I know they're not on no cusp of a top 10 right now, but buddy, they have won every game by a blowout. They have not given up a single point, and they just won this past Friday 62-0. I'm telling you, man, everybody wants to be quiet about this little church league or, the SSAC and all. I'm telling you, dude, the same coach that brought Masters Academy a state championship with Ty Borman and all them boys is the same coach that has now taken over Orangewood. AJ, I don't even think they've scored 62 points in Orangewood in the last decade if you combine it all. They won that. No, dude, I don't care. I'm calling it what it is, brother. Orangewood Christian is no sleep no more. Everybody's awake because they're wanting to see the score every week because I'm going to bring them up every week. Coach Mel Jones, Tanner Downs, all those, the offensive coordinator over there, they've got things going crazy offensively, and then defensively, obviously, they're shutting out everybody. So they have a massive game this week. This is not one of our top games of the week. They do play Cornerstone. I think this is a matchup that could give them a little bit of problems. But if they go out there and take care of business, you're going to hear me talk about Orangewood every single week.
All love.
Well, there we have our top 10 rankings. We're going to take a break, and we will come back with our games of the week. back to the High School Football Scoreboard show. We have our games of the week. First up, we have Windermere and Innovation. We have the fans, 87% of fans having Windermere on this game. Baylin?
Yeah, this has been historically the Independent League Championship the last couple of years, where Windermere has obviously won back-to-back 21 straight games. This is my, obviously, we're going to find out I'm going to predict who's going to win. But this is a team that I wanted to touch on. Obviously, my power went out. Great job to Windermere beating Winter Park, a solid team. Finally, a team that you can put on their resume and say, Windermere can compete with the big boys. And so with that being said, Dean Monroe and company, I love what they got going on over there. Innovation beat Timber Creek, another big school, a school that Innovation should not be competing with. And historically over the years, Timber Creek is a good football team, at least solid enough to be in that conversation where they should not lose to independent teams. And guess what? They did. And so this is a very good matchup. I am going to go with the fans here. I'm not going away from Ricky Smith. He's going to win 22 straight games this Friday night. They are going to beat Innovation. And I mean, this is crazy, guys. Windermere, the fact that we're even still doing this thing, the train is still rolling. Hey, good job to them boys, man. Ricky Smith's got something special over there, and those guys are bought in. If you don't think a team's bought in, look at the last 2.5 years, and they're still rolling.
Yeah, man. They made me a believer last week when they beat Winter Park. I do respect the hell out of Innovation, that program. Coach Kennard, he's done a great job. Everywhere he's gone, he's started up a program, and he started them in the right direction. So it was hard for me to pick against Innovation, but I'm gonna have to go with Ricky Smith. I'm gonna have to go with Ricky and the boys. Dean Monroe at quarterback, leading the way. I'm going Windermere too.
All right, we have Melbourne Central Catholic and Benjamin. 65% of fans favor in Melbourne. AJ?
Yeah, I'm gonna go MCC. I think Coach Snyder and Snaff. Obviously, it's gonna be an adjustment period at MCC, but we all know his track record. We know what he is, the type of coaching, the type of results we get from Coach Snyder. So I'm not surprised. I think MCC will find their way. So I like MCC to get that victory.
Yep, couldn't agree more, man. 65% of the fans say MCC. I love what Coach Snyder's doing over there. I love what Coach Franco's doing there. What I love most is Franco is like the first one to text me in the morning on Saturday to let me know how my guy Trent Washington is doing, and he is lighting it up. The last 2 games, I believe, over 9 or 10 touchdowns. He is going to be someone we're going to be talking about on this show for a very long time. And honestly, Melbourne Central Catholic beats teams like Benjamin and does well. They might creep themselves into a top 10. So Snyder got some key guys from Cocoa. Let's not think that he didn't get some guys that wanted to follow my guy over there, right? So I think Melbourne Central Catholic should win this football game. I'm excited what Trent's doing. Just a phenomenal talent, and he's only going to get better. So as long as he continues to follow Coach Franco and Coach Snyder's leadership, Melbourne Central Catholic is going to win a lot of football games, and that starts also including Friday night.
Okay, Titusville and Holy Trinity. 89% of fans say Titusville. Baylin?
Titusville, one of my favorite teams that we don't really spend a lot of time talking about, but I think we are going to in the next couple of weeks. Remy, my guy Remy, quarterback over there at Titusville, that transferred from Cocoa Beach. Phenomenal talent. Might not have all the stats in the world at 5'10", 170, but boy, his arm talent is absolutely elite. He had a phenomenal game against Oviedo last week, throwing a touchdown, running around, looking like Johnny Manziel out there. This kid can do it all, and I'm excited what Titusville has going on. They're going to be in some big-time matchups. Their schedule is absolutely insane. So I think this is one of their wins. So I am going to go Titusville in a blowout fashion here by 2 or plus touchdowns, 14 plus. But I just love Titusville and what they have. I mean, Harvey over there, special talent. But again, I can only go based off the guys that I see in my trainings, and Remy brings some of his receivers. Their receiving room is elite. And so for that reason, I think Titusville has a phenomenal game against Holy Trinity, and they do come out victorious.
Yeah, I like Titusville as well. I think they probably had the most dynamic athlete in Brevard County and Tank Harvey. I think they'll dominate this game as well. I think last week was like I said, I think that was a good start for them. I already thought that they were probably 3 or 4 on the power rankings in Brevard County, so I like Titusville to get this win.
Okay, we have number 10 Seminole and Lake Howell. 76% of fans say Seminole will win this game. AJ?
Yeah, so for me, this is like what you do best versus what I do best. Everybody know that Seminole is a defensive-minded program. Their head coach played linebacker, so you already know where we're going from there. When we look at Lake Howell, that is an offensive team. They have one of the better quarterbacks in Central Florida, and Bryson Marbury. But I just can't. I'm gonna go Seminole. I think the fans are owning something. I think Seminole's a strong team. I think Seminole athletes will step up for the challenge. I think they'll take it personal. And I like Seminole to get the win. I think RJ and JoJo will hold it down on the back end. Those are their better players, so to speak. So I like Seminole.
Yeah, I think Seminole loves playing team in silver and navy. Yeah, they just love doing it. And they did it 2 weeks ago, and they beat Lake Nona. And I believe they're going to do the same thing this week and beat Lake Howell. Now, I do believe Lake Howell has, like you alluded to, one of the best quarterbacks in the 2028 class in Bryson Marbury. He's trained by Anthony Siciliano. He does a very good job with him. Very, very talented player. Got to watch him, not really watch him, but I watched him in warm-ups when he was behind Noah Grubbs the last couple of years at Lake Mary before he transferred, and you could tell this kid's got some talent. Obviously, I've never worked with him, but Anthony does a phenomenal job with Bryson Marbury. They do give Lake Howell, well, he gives Lake Howell a lot of chances in a lot of games, but it ain't going to happen this week, in my opinion. I think Seminole, with how they are defensively, they're on a tear right now, and then they also have a 2028 quarterback in Daniel, who a lot of people don't know, transfer from Spruce Creek. This kid is a dynamic player, and they also have King, so they got a dynamic duo at quarterback at Seminole, and I believe no matter who's behind the helm, they can win a lot of games. And so for that reason, I do believe Seminole has a lot to prove this year, and they're going to do it Friday night against a very talented Lake Howell team.
Okay, number 5, West Orange and Horizon. 85% of fans say West Orange will win this one. AJ?
Yeah, I think 85% of fans are correct. When you have AJ Chung at quarterback, you always have a chance to win the ball game. He has a terrific receiving core, my boy. But the running back, Jay Amos, I think this kid is one of the most underrated athletes in Central Florida. He's had not just a terrific opening game, because he actually led the team in receiving yards. He had the most all-purpose yards, but he's just underrated. He's had a pretty solid career when I looked at his stats. So all in all, I think West Orange has what it takes. I think Coach Thompson, Gino, he does a great job of preparing his team every week. And I like them to beat Horizon by a couple touchdowns.
Gonna give Horizon some flowers here. If anybody hasn't checked Max Preps or the scores from last week, I honestly think Lake Buena Vista doesn't have a team after what we saw. I mean, at this point, rebuild, I mean, it was bad. I believe it was 72-73-0. I mean, I don't think Horizon scored that many points all of last year. They may have, but 70-something-0. Yikes. So clearly they got some things going on over at Horizon, which is exciting, but it ain't enough to beat AJ Chung at West Orange. I mean, maybe in a couple years down the road, rebuild, get that program hype, get some transfers in because you're winning games. AJ Chung and company, no chance. I think AJ is obviously a kid that I've trained since he was a little boy, 2nd, 3rd grade. I've seen this kid play in the hardest youth football league possible, win championships, not lose many games, and he's carrying that into high school. AJ Chung is an elite generational talent, and I think he has a phenomenal game. I don't think it's close. Again, I love where Horizon is stepping in the right direction. They're winning games by 70, but it ain't happening on Friday night. West Orange Warriors for the win.
Okay, we have number 4, Merritt Island versus Melbourne. 78% of fans are voting for Merritt Island to win this one, Baylin.
Right there.
Yep. Grayson just pointed to the winner. Merritt Island. Yes, I'm going with Kevin and company again. Melbourne is a different football team. You want to compare scores? It looked very identical with both of them having a common opponent in Coco. One was a kickoff classic. One actually counted. Melbourne is trending. This is a good football team, guys. This is arguably number 1 versus number 2 or 3 in Brevard County. O'Galley, you laid an egg last week. I'm sorry. You got embarrassed. I mean, I was on the sideline at Merritt Island. They were asking me for the score, and they were almost joking about it. It was like, Carroll Day, really? Like, I don't even know much about Carroll Day, but I know O'Galley should not be losing games 41-7. So, with that being said, Merritt Island, in my opinion, is the number 1 team in Brevard. Melbourne has an argument. I don't think their roster matches up with O'Galley, but they have an argument saying we are 2 or 3 in Brevard. So this is a phenomenal matchup in week 2, but I am going with the Mustangs here with the fans. I'm not betting against a guy that I train in Kevin Verpale. He made last week look very easy. I believe offensively they have all the tools to be elite, especially with a run game and a passing game. And this is going to be tight. This is going to be very tight. But Merritt Island for the win.
All right, so let me address a couple things. I heard you said a lot of things. It was a lot. Carrollwood Day, it is a small private school in the Tampa area, but Carrollwood Day went 12-1 last year. Carrollwood Day is not no sorry chump program. Many of their returning starters were only freshmen and sophomores, so Carrollwood Day is still a young team. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Remember, I said they should have lost 41-7.
Obviously, EG
41-7.
A better showing, yeah, but come on now, get off my boys now. All right, but in this game, I like Merritt Island. I think Melbourne and the Hall brothers, they got something going on. But I think Kev, Eli, Deshaun, I think this is a good team. A couple weeks ago when I said EG just the best team in Brevard County, I stand corrected. I think that Merritt Island can stand toe-to-toe with EG. And as of now, Baylin is just throwing EG to the wolves, so he thinks Merritt Island is the best team.
That roster should not lose 41-7. I don't care who you. They should not. No.
Everybody make mistakes in life, man. But anyway,
they do, but not 34-point mistakes.
But I'm gonna go with Merritt Island. I think Merritt Island is gonna win this game. Close, but I got Merritt.
St. Francis Academy fan results: 64% of fans have St. Francis winning this one. Guys, let's start with AJ.
I'm gonna go St. Francis. All right, let me stop playing around. I think D-Land is a great ball club. One thing that just scares me about D-Land, even going back to last season, is they give up a lot of points, like a lot of points. They be in shootouts, and I don't think you can be in a shootout with a team like St. Francis. When you talk about national talent, it's like that mean all 22 starters, like they're going to play college football somewhere. Like when it gets to that level, that those teams are very, very hard to compete with, let alone win. I do think that D-Land will be a competitive ball game, but I'll take St. Francis.
AJ said it best. Let's call a spade. I don't want to feel biased here. I want DeLand to win. Make me very loud and clear. I want DeLand to win, but it's not going to happen. St. Francis is going to win. Now, would we all be shocked if DeLand won? Heck yeah. I think they would be shocked if they won this football game. But what AJ said earlier, if there is an offense and a coach to do it, it's the single wing and it's Coach Darlington. That is the only formula that's going to beat St. Francis. I mean, this team alone, again, this is the number 1 team in America. Like, we're not talking about in their area. We're talking about the entire United States of America. That's a big, right? They're number one. They're number one. You see our little one next to DeLand? That's a Central Florida ranking number one. We're talking with an area full of maybe 50 teams. This is a number one with 50,000 teams. Okay? Yeah, like I said, DeLand, we want you to win. Represent us well. You're going to do it in our city, but we're close to that 0% chance. We're close to that, but that 0.000001 is a single wing with Darlington, and if it's hitting on all cylinders.
Okay, and then for the game of the week, we have number 2, Edgewater, and the First Academy. TFA is favored with 56% to win this game. AJ?
Dang. This was a tough game for me to pick. I didn't think that TFA would be the favorite coming into this game, being that we have Edgewater ranked 2. So TFA, I told you, I won't be surprised if they go 3-7. I won't be surprised if they go 7-3, 8-2. Like, I just don't know about TFA right now. I know that they're young. I think the QB Deuce, I think that young man, when it's all said and done, he has the trajectory to be a 4-star, 5-star type quarterback at 6'1.5", 6'2", and as a freshman, if he could get to 6'3", 6'4", and he is legit 4'4", 4'5" speed already. So, I mean, they got horses. They're young, but I just can't. It's hard for me to see what a game at. It's at Edgewater. And when TFA beat Edgewater 3 years ago, this really kind of started the whole TFA movement. So I know that the guys who were on that Edgewater team, it'd be in the back of their heads. Q, Torrey, I like those boys to lead their team to victory. JT at running back, I'm gonna go with Edgewater. So yeah, I got Edgewater. I'm an Eagle.
Nice. All right, Grayson, who do you want to win? Say it. Who are they? You know what it is. All right. My son Grayson pointed to TFA. Okay, he pointed to TFA. Now, let me get this very clear. TFA, this ain't Dr. Phillips. So if you think you're just going to walk up into Edgewater and think you're going to win 58-7, that ain't happening. Now, again, if you look at the name Dr. Phillips, it shows powerhouse state championship. Shout out to Coach Wells and Coach Sapp and all them boys, Aubrey even. This is not Dr. Phillips. This is not Kathleen, who hasn't won a game in 2 years. This is the Edgewater Eagles. I love what Browning's doing. I think the Armwood game made me a believer in Edgewater because of how competitive they were, and they probably would have won that game if they would have played all 4 quarters, which is crazy because I didn't think they had a chance, to be honest with you. I even said it. But I will tell you this. TFA is a phenomenal football team, and here's where they have the edge, in my opinion. The trenches, both offensive and defensive line. I think in a game like this, they're just going to wear Edgewater down. I do think, and I'm being unbiased here, I think TFA is going to win this game. I'm going to go with my son's prediction here, going with TFA. But I think Edgewater can win this game. Obviously, they have the ability to do that. They have a great offensive line. They have great quarterback in, obviously, Cruz. Talent everywhere. Edgewater's our number 2 team for a reason. But I think in weird nights, TFA, with what they've got going on, I do believe they can pull off an upset. And I'm going to go upset here because my son chose it, the Royals. But doesn't mean I don't believe in Browning and what he's doing. I love Browning. I love Cruz, obviously, and all those running backs in the stable. They're gonna have to have a phenomenal game to beat a great team like TFA trenches. And we're gonna have to see how this plays out. AJ, you going to the game?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep. So we're all gonna be there. We all plan on being there. Grayson also plans on being there, so I'm sure TFA is gonna love him because he made that prediction. But regardless, we're gonna see a great football game. I don't think it's gonna be 58-7. No point intended there. But, hey, week 2's in the books, guys. We're excited about what we have going on. Central Florida is at a all-time high right now. We got a lot of people talking. And, yeah, AJ, final thoughts, bro?
Man, nah, just can't wait to get to the game. I think I'm doing a gig with my boy O. I should be in I think Lake Mary. It's like a pregame show. Yeah, that's right there. Oviedo versus Lake Mary.
Hey, we didn't. Hey, AJ, we can finish the show. Let's predict this game. Why not?
Why not? I ain't picking against Lake Mary at Lake Mary. Like, you crazy. So, yeah, I got Lake Mary, but I'll be here high school game day Friday, 5:30. I'm hitting on I-4, and I'm coming to College Park to watch Edgewater. So, hey, make sure you bring my pass with you, and I'll get it from the game from you.
Hey, I might have to pull up to this thing, man. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dog. It's gonna be fun. Come on,
Yeah.
pop out.
But I'm going Lake Mary too. I think Remy, Jarman, and all those guys have a whole week of preparation. They did have a kickoff classic game, so it's not like one of those situations where they're walking into week 2 as their first game. So they know their identity, what they're going to do. Oviedo, tough loss last week to Titusville, but Lake Mary ain't Titusville. So I think this is a phenomenal football team. They got D1 talent everywhere, just like Oviedo. They got an Ohio State. I mean, and they have a phenomenal quarterback in Sebastian, committed to Yale. Coach O is one of the top offensive-minded coaches that I know. Honestly, I want some of my quarterbacks to play for him. No point intended. But Lake Mary, I got them winning on Friday night.
All right, guys. Well, I will be at Lake Mary, 5:30 p.m. I will be the host of our brand new Orlando North High School Game Day show. I'm so excited to be hosting this, talking with players, coaches, staff from the school, faculty. So make sure you guys tune in on the Orlando North YouTube page. Once again, 5:30. We will be live at Lake Mary High School talking all things heading into this match. So we are excited. Make sure you guys tune in. That was our week 1 recap. We're excited to recap week 2. Next week, we'll be here again, 8 o'clock. All right. That's it.
Peace.
Varsity Sports Nation. Unleash the champion within.